Mia, can I ask you something?
That's usually dangerous, but go ahead.
Have you ever spent 3 days preparing for a conversation and then ruined it in less than 30 seconds?
That's a very specific question.
Because that's exactly what happened.
What kind of conversation was this?
A few weeks ago, one of my friends told me he wanted to introduce me to a friend of his from the United States.
Sounds normal so far.
That's what a healthy person would say.
And what did your brain say?
My brain immediately decided this conversation was extremely important.
Naturally.
Apparently, she enjoyed meeting people from different countries and practicing English. That was all the information I had.
And somehow that was enough.
More than enough. Unfortunately, my imagination did the rest.
Meaning?
Meaning I spent 3 days preparing. I practiced answers, imagined conversations, and somehow convinced myself this was a life-changing event.
3 days is a lot of preparation for a casual conversation.
It gets worse.
Good.
The night before the call, I made a terrible decision.
What did you do?
I looked at her social media profile. The first picture was from Paris. The second was from Iceland. The third was from Japan.
And what was on your profile?
Coffee.
Of course.
More coffee. Then a sandwich. Then another coffee.
A strong competitor.
That's when I started comparing our lives.
Dangerous.
Extremely dangerous. Suddenly she seemed interesting, and I seemed like a guy who documents his lunch.
Which is technically true.
Fair point. Then I made another terrible decision.
There was another one?
I decided I needed a personality upgrade.
A personality upgrade?
Yes,
How much time was left before the call?
about 5 minutes.
That's not enough time to develop a personality.
I was optimistic.
What was your plan?
I honestly considered learning a new hobby.
In 5 minutes?
I was running out of options.
What hobby were you going to learn?
Photography, chess, mountain climbing. I was open to suggestions.
Very practical.
Then the call finally started. I had joined 10 minutes early, checked my camera at least 15 times, adjusted my chair 4 times, and somehow convinced myself I was sitting incorrectly.
That's not nervous. That's airport behavior.
Fair point. Then she appeared on the screen.
First impression?
She seemed very friendly, which somehow made me even more nervous.
Because now you wanted her to like you.
That was definitely part of the problem. We started talking about simple things. Her city, my city, travel, food. Everything felt surprisingly normal.
So your preparation was finally paying off.
That's what I thought. Then she smiled and asked, "Tell me about yourself."
The question.
Suddenly, my brain opened 20 different tabs at the same time. My job, my hobbies, my city, my family, my interests, my plans. Everything arrived at once. The real problem wasn't that I didn't know what to say. The real problem was that I wanted the answer to be impressive.
That's a trap.
Work sounded boring. Soccer sounded boring. Coffee sounded boring. My hobbies sounded boring. Everything sounded boring. Meanwhile, she was probably just trying to get to know me.
Most people are.
After several seconds, I finally said, "Hi, I'm Lucas. I'm 30 years old. I live in Brazil. I work in sales. I like soccer. I like coffee. I like pizza."
Pizza survived the selection process.
Apparently.
So your introduction was basically name, age, country, pizza.
The 4 pillars of my personality.
That's unforgettable.
The funniest part is that after 3 days of preparation, pizza was the only thing that came out naturally.
And what happened next?
Unfortunately, she had follow-up questions. Unfortunately, she had follow-up questions.
Good.
That's not the word I would use.
What was the first question?
She smiled and asked, "What do you usually do on weekends?"
A very normal question.
It should have been easy. The problem was that I immediately saw it as an opportunity.
An opportunity to do what?
To finally sound interesting.
Haha, the mission continues.
Instead of giving a normal answer, I started searching for the most impressive version of my weekend.
What was the real answer?
Usually I meet friends, watch soccer, have coffee, go for a walk, or stay home and relax.
Sounds like a good weekend.
Back then it sounded painfully ordinary.
So, what did you tell her?
I said, I enjoy exploring new experiences and discovering interesting places.
Who was that? That doesn't sound like you at all.
Not even a little. The problem was that she liked my answer.
Uh-oh.
She smiled and said, "Oh, that's interesting. What kind of places do you like discovering?"
The follow-up question strikes again.
Suddenly, I realized I had invented a more adventurous version of myself.
Did you have an answer ready?
Not a good one. I started talking about a coffee shop I had visited 3 months earlier.
One coffee shop?
One coffee shop.
The great explorer returns from another successful expedition.
It was the only example I could think of. Somehow that led to a conversation about travel.
Which sounds dangerous.
Very dangerous. She asked, "Do you enjoy traveling?"
And do you?
Yes. A normal person would have answered, "Yes, I do."
But you're not a normal person.
Apparently not. Instead, I gave a 3-minute explanation about airports.
Airports?
I honestly don't know what happened. At some point, I wasn't talking about travel anymore. I was talking about luggage, security lines, boarding gates, and airplane food.
Truly fascinating material.
I was committed to the performance.
How did she react?
She was incredibly patient. Then she asked another question.
Let me guess. Another simple one.
She asked, "What do you do for fun?"
That's an easy question.
That's exactly what makes it dangerous.
Fair point.
This time, I decided to sound natural.
Good decision.
Unfortunately, I overcorrected. I spent almost 20 seconds thinking. Then I said, "I watch soccer."
That's your entire answer?
That's the entire answer.
3 days of preparation, 20 seconds of thinking, one sentence.
Pretty much. Then something unexpected happened.
What?
She became interested.
In soccer?
Yes. She started asking questions. Which team do you support? How often do you watch? Do your friends watch too? What's the most exciting match you've ever seen?
Questions you could actually answer.
Exactly. For the first time in the conversation, I stopped trying to sound impressive. I stopped searching for clever answers. I stopped worrying about how I sounded.
And what happened?
The conversation became easier. We talked about sports, hobbies, movies, travel, food, and random things we enjoyed doing. Everything suddenly felt natural.
Because you were finally being yourself.
Looking back, that's probably true. The funny thing is that she never seemed impressed by the fancy answers. She seemed interested when the answers were real.
That's a big difference.
Then she asked a question I wasn't expecting.
What was it?
She asked, "What's something you're proud of?"
That's actually a great question.
It is now. At the time, it felt like somebody had unplugged my brain.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
And that's where the real challenge began. And that's where the real challenge began.
Why?
Because for the first time that night, I didn't have a prepared answer.
No personality upgrade?
No personality upgrade.
No international man of mystery?
He had already disappeared. She asked, "What's something you're proud of?" And suddenly I realized I had spent 3 days preparing for the wrong questions.
That's interesting.
I had prepared for, "Where are you from? What do you do? What are your hobbies?" But I never thought about that one.
So, what did you do?
For a few seconds, absolutely nothing.
A classic strategy.
Then I said, "Can I think about that for a second?" That's actually a very useful sentence. It really is. And the funny thing is that she immediately smiled and said, "Of course."
No pressure, no judgment.
Exactly. That's when I finally stopped trying to sound impressive.
What answer did you give?
I told her I was proud of learning English.
That's a good answer.
At first, I almost changed it
Why?
because it didn't sound exciting enough.
There it is again.
But then I thought, that's the truth.
And what happened?
She became genuinely interested.
Really?
Yes. She started asking questions. How long have you been studying? Why did you start learning? What's the hardest part?
Questions you could answer honestly.
Exactly. Suddenly, I wasn't performing anymore. I was just talking about my real experiences.
That's when conversations usually become interesting.
Looking back, I think that was the best part of the entire conversation.
Not the personality upgrade?
Surprisingly, no.
What a shame.
The funny thing is that once I relaxed, the conversation became much easier.
Because you stopped trying to control everything.
That's true. Then she asked what I wanted to improve next.
That's a good question, too.
I told her I wanted to become more confident speaking English.
Honest answer.
And then she said something I still remember.
What did she say?
She said, "You already sound more confident than you think."
That's nice.
It completely surprised me,
Why?
because the entire time I had been focusing on every small mistake. Meanwhile, she was just enjoying the conversation.
That's something many learners do.
We spend so much time analyzing ourselves that we forget the other person is usually paying attention to the conversation, not the mistakes.
Exactly.
Looking back, the biggest problem that night wasn't my English.
What was it?
I was trying too hard to be interesting.
Instead of being yourself,
Exactly. The ironic part is that the conversation only became interesting when I stopped trying to make it interesting.
that's one of those annoying life lessons that turns out to be true.
It really is.
I think a lot of listeners can relate to this.
Definitely.
Maybe you're meeting someone new. Maybe you're speaking English at work. Maybe you're joining an online conversation.
And maybe you're spending more energy trying to sound impressive than actually connecting with people.
That's the trap.
If this episode taught me anything, it's that people connect with honesty, not performance.
That's a lesson worth remembering.
I still can't believe I spent 3 days preparing.
And your best answer was pizza.
Honestly, pizza carried that conversation.
It did a lot of heavy lifting.
You know what? I feel a little better about that whole situation now.
Good.
Because at the time I thought the conversation was a disaster.
And now?
Now I think it was just a conversation.
Exactly.
I think my English is broken.
Your English isn't broken.
Maybe my personality upgrade was broken.
That's much more likely.
Before we go, let's talk about next week's episode.
Next time we're talking about something every English learner has experienced.
Translating everything in your head.
Why do we do it?
And how do we stop doing it?
We'll try to figure it out.
If you enjoyed spending time with us today, don't forget to follow the podcast.
And come back next week for another conversation.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We really appreciate it.
Take care.
Keep listening, keep learning, and keep speaking. Bye.
Bye.